Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This is CW back in the BTH&T dungeon. I know I've been off for a little bit, but my wife will tell you I've been off for quite a while. It's a joke. Can't help it. Uh, this technically it's what is today? Today, May 8th. It's nighttime because this I just had my second round of chemo and it kind of screws me up. But I feel good enough like one, I don't have hiccups right now, so I'm going to go ahead and knock this out real quick because I, I don't like not doing this. I love reading this stuff and telling you about this. But Todd, he's getting excited because the end of the year is coming up. And he asked a silly question, how come we only get 2 days off a week? It's a funny question, but it's a good answer. I mean, it's hilarious. It's got stuff like Saint Monday in it, so stay tuned. Todd and Phoebe sadly are no more. I was going to take a picture of him, post it, because some people doubt his existence, except for those who know him, and then they wish they could. But he's a good kid. I did not know this about Todd, but his parents are trying to get him into the West Point. I don't know how I feel about that. Let's move on. Uh, Not bad. They're kind of irritating. They're easier to read, but my writing, I write big, so I don't really need them. So if we go back to the basic calendar, and I mean basic, thousands of years ago, I really need to trim my eyebrows. Holy crap. Anyway, the Babylonians, thousands of years ago, came up with the calendar idea basically as a way to keep things in check as far as grains, commerce, uh, river tables, water tables, all that good stuff. They came up with 12 months between 29 days and 31 days to balance out the year. I mean, that's how far back they knew that technically that big ball of fire would go around us. Later on, we learned that we went around it. Remember, Todd? Heliocentric, not geocentric, or worse, European centric. But we'll move on. So they came up with that thousands of years ago. Now, the ancient Romans, here's a kick in the head, God's gift to man, they came up with 10 months. The reason? Nothing grows in the other 2 months. So they didn't even name them until some king, Nepolti, came up and named it January after the god Janus, who could look both ways, going and coming. And then after the next month was named after February, which is like basically the end of winter days celebration, became February. But initially, they didn't waste time with it. No, nothing grows, so this is just a dark time. Not my relative. Well, okay, yeah, they are. So we have to go to the 19th century Great Britain, like we always seem to. Well, one, mostly that's where we come from. And they came up with, mostly everybody back in the Holy Roman Catholic days or the Holy Roman Empire days were all Catholics, Catholicism. Later on came the Lutherans. But Sunday was a must. You had to have Sunday off. So these guys would work, the peasants, the craftsmen, the artisans, tradesmen. They'd work 6 days, sometimes like mostly 12-hour days, or, as long as the sun was up and they could do their work. So who could blame them that on Sunday, if they made it to church or mass or after mass, It's a party time. Yeah, we carry that tradition now on too. But to bring back that little thing called Saint Monday, they party a little too much, like we do in February on Super Bowl Sunday, and we have what we call Saint Monday or call it in. We ain't making it. And usually by the time they got up on that Monday, Saint Monday, it was like noon. And, well, a little ale, a couple of cockfights. You were back ready to go back to work Tuesday. You were laughing. This is a real thing. Saint Monday. So when you go to work on Monday, I expect you guys all to go, Hell Saint Monday. You can look it up. Oh, gosh. So they would basically do that. Well, later on, now that was pretty much 15th, 16th century. In the 18th and 19th century, besides allowing its employees to work and drink at the job, God, sweet days, these were factory jobs. Hey, Lefty, what happened there? I was holding me plane. I couldn't. Oops. Moving on. A bunch of religious folks got together and started pleading for factory workers or factory employers to shut down the factory at noon, for that lunch break and just give them the rest of the day off and the Sunday. All the church people, they were all keen on it. The wives, they were all keen on it. Their interpretation, the civic leaders thought these factory worker employees, being working hard, they'll love to go home, tend the garden, maybe walk into a museum, a science exposition. Blah, blah, blah. I can blame it all on chemo. That's not quite it. Do you know the name of that song? Is the merry-go-round broke down? Yeah, look it up. But I digress, as Ben would say. So that's what they would do. So they push this. You go home, you take care of your families, work in that garden, go to museums. No, they got sloushed a day early. That's all. And we carry the tradition on today. So, but then once across the pond, the unions started to organize. Uh, the Sabbath, the Jewish Sabbath, came more in play on Saturday, so that led to a whole day off. Even what's his name? I know this will sound strange. Henry Ford was in favor of not so much the Jewish part of that, but was in favor of giving his employees a full weekend off. Well, so they could travel around and look at those nice new cars, maybe buy one. There's always a good reason for things. So that's how we had 2 days off, or our weekend is only 2 days. I mean, some sort of that. Later on, the college games, they started playing on Saturdays, and you get the gist. Tailgating, it's not cockfighting and ale drinking, but it's there. It's intended. Now, a lot of people want the ancient Romans, I think they gave you like 1 day off every 10 days. That blows. The French, when they went through that reign of terror, ugh, they built everything on 10. There, there are actually clocks in existence from that time that have only 10 hours. Not really, more like 10 and 20 hour, 10 hour and 20 minutes each hour segment. Well, they would only give you 1 day off every 10 days, maybe. In the Soviet Union, from the 1920s to the early 40s, they wouldn't give you days off at all. Just every now and then they'd say, take a day off. Just random. We call that the gulag. Funny fact, in the Senate, so I couldn't find it. Maybe y'all can. A committee in the 1965 U.S. Senate, yeah, same guys, predicted by the year 2000, we, U.S. Americans, would be working at a work week of only 14 hours. How's that going for you? All right. Just a little update. I tried to do this morning, but you saw the one time I tried to do it with hiccups, and it's just hilarious. And I can make up all the excuses I want to. I could screw up the words, but I'm feeling a little bit better today. I got some sleep. I couldn't sleep at all last night. That's where that song goes, and that's yeah. That was from a morning session of chemo, and I've learned the importance of a mid-morning nap now. Now I know what you're thinking. That's why he's wired. But no, it's about 8 o'clock now or so at night. I just took Jackson for a walk. But everything is looking good. I appreciate your support. Charles mentioned that my email address went down. Thanks, Yahoo. I guess we'll be working on that. I'm going to post one in the narrative section of the film. So if y'all want to converse like that directly to me, and I have a lot of friends, and it's hard for me to get to because uh, it's just it's hard for me sometimes to concentrate, and I don't mean anything by that. But I love to hear your comments. I love to hear everything you have, what's going on when y'all are at the park and I'm not there. And lately, I just haven't been there. I can't. It's enough for me to drive to Publix on some days and walk around there. But that's just the way it goes. But I'm doing good. I have good days and bad days. I appreciate all your prayers and support. I got family coming down this month. I look forward to that. And as you can tell, I got to see my barber, and he probably got arthritis in his hands from the work he had to do. But that's it. Appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye.